But we've got ebb and flow and clicking on the button. We're unmuted. Hello, everybody.
Huh? You didn't warn me. There's no countdown. What?
No countdown. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Bam. Look at him go. He's dancing. I love it. I have too much fun with the stream avatar stuff. I just want to do a stream avatar stream.
I think it's distracting, sir.
That's fair. Hey, Bedlam. I see Bedlam. Thank you, man. Good to see you.
VIP diamond. What is that?
VIP diamond?
It's like a VIP pink diamond looking thing next to...
Oh yeah, Bedlam's VIP, bro.
Oh shit, I don't even know what that means.
He's sitting in a back room with a bottle on ice.
Oh, okay, he's got the bottle surface, gotcha.
Oh yeah, and underneath his chair there's a cage of dubs he can let loose at any time just to be bald.
Ah.
Yeah. We go hard. Nice.
Anyway, I think Casey got his beard on with that. It's a little wonky tonight. I had to, the double-sided tape, spirit gum, and all that.
I don't know how you do it. I had to trim and shave mine down. I got good product and it helped. And I'll tell you what, having a good beard oil and then when you ever have to wear a mask makes life so easy because all you smell is just, I don't know, eucalyptus or whatever you put on there. But yeah,
I never thought about that.
I just can't deal with it. I can't do it.
Is my video choppy again?
Nah, well, at least not from what I can see.
Okay, I'm just seeing myself on the thing. I don't tend to watch it, but it just looked a little choppy to me.
Nah. Okay. Might be your Twitch on that side, but...
Oh, it could be, yeah.
Yeah, Streamlabs, you're looking crystal clear, my man.
Oh, fucking perfect.
Oh, yeah. I also love how we're black and white today. You notice that?
Oh, are we? Oh, yeah.
We're black and white today. Which is great,
I
because there's going to be a few of
like
these that we're going to be on the other side of the fence for, I'm sure.
Oh, well, it could be, yeah. And so, I guess we should... Well, do we enter that or we talk about how is you?
How is I? I's good. I is good. I've been really nice and busy. There's been a few things for the channel that I'm putting in the work for. Very positive things, some really cool things that are coming to the channel. A few things I can advertise. The appearance of it, the overlay of D&D episodes is going to be looking a little different. Going forward, we've got something really cool planned for that. We've also got something planned for individuals that are joining an episode for the new time. It's a nice little recap while the stream is inside that beginning stream party for people to just kind of get caught up enough to get an idea of who you guys are before they step into an episode.
Right.
Yeah, and then in order to help, we got a little bit of NPC art. So people who are tuning in for... Yeah, because, I mean, it tends to happen, especially when you guys are not running a town. There's a lot of different NPCs that are kind of important to you guys, and it's hard for, I guess, newcomers to associate with it. And so we got little NPC cards that are going to be showing up repeatedly. To anyone who's watching for the first time, we'll get an idea of who's talking when they're talking, and, who they are, etc. Also, I'm just seeing a whole bunch of other people piling in. Hello, everybody. Mariachi Dan is here. Mariachi Dan, I saw Hannah. Where's Hannah? There you are, in your Lapras. I know you, I can see you. Thank you so much, Hannah. I appreciate you coming in. Alien Gathering, we got Santa Claus gift. Oh, we got some news and we got some olds. Hi, everybody, welcome. Mariachi Dan, you weren't here last week. Okay, but I did something specifically for you.
Yeah.
Our chat bot, by the name of Nightbot, is a bit of a... Well, they're strict, okay? But I grabbed them by the ear and I put them in the chair and I gave them a stern warning. And so they're going to behave themselves. So feel free to post your emotes. I don't know. Maybe you have to do it again. But
I think Dan will figure out how to test the limits of Nightbot's new leash.
I'm sure you will. But yeah, anyway, so that's enough about me. Some really cool stuff coming for the channel. But yeah. Anyways,
awesome.
How are you? How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Like I said before we started, I feel like I'm down with Nightbot. Yes, I agree. I just in a weird kind of daze today. It's just a weird one.
Yeah.
A lot of work, and feel like the day just disappeared. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Like the weekend did that too. We had fun on Saturday, which was a blast.
Right, we did an escape
And
room.
then
Yeah.
I spent the better part of yesterday building a tiered flower box thing for our front porch.
Lovely.
And yeah, suddenly it's already Tuesday tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
woohoo!
Woohoo! Getting past the first day. That's the big test.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. We get to end of today with something nice. I see we got more people inside the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new, we're going to be talking about that topic that's up there. Sometimes we just go off on tangents. Please feel free to talk to us, share your stories, your opinions, questions, whatever. You're free to be a nerd here.
Mm-hmm. So, we're talking. Yeah. We're talking about broken rules, or I mean, kind of how I was thinking. At least, correct me if I'm wrong. And I need to tailor these things a little differently because we never segue into other topics.
No. We all
just kind of things maybe not so much broken, but unrefined or could be handled better. Maybe
that is very well worded.
That could be maybe optimized in some way. But as we're talking, I'll say it a lot, I'm sure. You tailor things to your table, to how you like to run a game, to how your players like or have fun with, I guess, is the main thing.
Exactly that. Fun.
What's fun, and if there's an element that's not really fun for anybody, well, maybe we should revisit it and mess with that element. But
exactly, nobody's gonna come kick down your door. It's your game.
Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of things we will miss or opinions that we'll have that you have differently.
Mm-hmm.
Please fill up the chat with questions, opinions, deep thoughts.
Yeah. And you know what? If you don't have any of those, just type something. Just tell us who you are.
Sure.
Just tell us, yeah. Just
Hey, I don't really want to know that much about them.
Just let them speak. Just let them speak. You don't have to read it.
Okay.
Pretty sure I can make the chat disappear, so.
Fair enough.
Alright, so broken rules and how to fix them.
Sure.
Alright. So.
Do you want to start?
We've spoken about the first one before on the channel.
Yeah, we may have addressed a few of these on the channel already, I'd say.
Yeah, so I think let's just get it out of the way. Fall damage. What's up with the maximum? Okay, yeah, I know, terminal velocity. Oh, I get it. But I brought up an example the last time we spoke, and it's... Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, there's a maximum limit that you can take inside of fall damage. In other words, you fall off a cliff, and then there's, after falling so many feet onwards to infinity, you take the same amount of damage.
Terminal velocity, yeah.
Yeah, because of terminal velocity, yeah. But I just brought up someone particular build, someone's character. I don't know, it's opposite. That one. At level 6, had enough health to withstand essentially a fall from 1,000 feet. On average. Like if you had to take the average damage of it all. Essentially, at level 6, Borla could have survived it. At level 6, falling from 1,000 feet, and you just get up and you're like, whoa, ow. Like... Yeah. Yeah, see, there you go. See,
and that's exactly what Borla's got, a 16 con, so...
Yeah, and
pretty sure
Dwarven Resilience, she gets an extra HP each level, and that does help.
Yeah. Well, she's got she's a hill dwarf, so she's got the extra health.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, fall damage. That's a weird one. There's I've seen a couple of different theories on how to handle it.
Sure.
Fortunately, because I messed up a particular rule, I have not had to do the max on my players. At least not recently. Like I said, I talked about it before, I was actually doing falling speed incorrectly, and now I know better. Now I can do it correctly in the future. But I know some that just like forget the cap. If you fall 1,000 feet, that's whatever, a 100 d6 or something of damage, and it's that's one way of handling it.
Yeah.
Now you are dealing with characters that have got some of them powers imbued by the gods and things like that.
That's
does that make them immortal? Well, in some cases, it practically does make them immortal. Like a Path of the Zealot Barbarian is practically immortal.
That's very true. Yeah.
Especially because it's free to revive them.
No costs, just
yeah, right. But and there's also, you can reduce an absolute shitload of damage with a monk slow fall and things like that, and of course a raging barbarian just in general. But I have seen some altered, like we cap it at 40 d6, or once they get to a certain number of feet fallen, like say once it hits 300, 400, 500 feet, anything above that is lethal fall. They just cap it here. Like, you can survive up to this amount, we'll do the 20 d6 or whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
But after 200 feet, it's just, you're dead. That is, the terminal velocity is death velocity. I think it's an interesting way of doing it. Again, I'd say, as with many of these roles, just make sure your player's okay with how you want to handle it. I figure it's got to come up very soon. That I've gone this long without having to deal with it is insane. And I really need to make up my mind, because I am not fully decided on it, honestly.
Well, I mean, to be fair, very rarely is that going to sneak up inside your campaign. It's not a session-to-session worry. Well, what if they fall 1,000 feet? It's
you
like
usually know
it's like,
okay, they're about to fight a dragon, it's gonna fly. If they fly after it, but then they get knocked out of the sky, or they're scaling a mountain, it's possible they might get knocked off the mountain, shit like that. Yeah, definitely should have had, trying to think, 2 different times, I think, in one of my campaigns where characters would have taken the 20 d6 and I flubbed it a little bit just because of rules and stuff that I messed up, but not anymore. Now that campaign's over, it's too late.
Hey, live and you learn, bro. Live and you learn.
No, that's true. We talked about that last time. We talked about that.
Exactly.
How you messed up, it's whatever. It's fine.
If you mess up, yeah, sure, of course you did.
Live and learn.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's that point. I laughed mid-flight there because of Mariachi's keeping the rage as you're falling. Stupid ground ending my flight.
Well, realistically, it's like in a single round, if you look at it, you fall like 500 and something feet instantly. So you don't have to rage for that long.
Yeah, just slapping yourself constantly as you're falling.
Yeah,
down.
it's like maybe you stretch it around, but likely you're going to hit the ground well before the round time has ended to lose your rage. Yeah, if I knew I needed to be angry to do it, I would. If a player wanted to punch themselves in the face a couple of times to maintain a rage to possibly survive a fall, I mean, shit, who am I to get in their way of that? Yeah.
They came up with a creative solution. End of story.
Yeah. So what do you think if it were to come up?
I do rather like the idea of just raising up the cap, or just saying after a certain level we just have to consider that a whole
lethal
other
fall
thing. Yeah. If it did consider like a drastic amount of height, let's say your character, for some reason you guys are like on a giant, I don't know, flying ship. There's a fight that happens, you go overboard. And then I would roll the damage, but then I would keep it a mystery at the table. Then everything kind of go on. And then if you died, I would have just had like a lost moment for you to experience your character's sort of lost moments. But if you survived, I'd just make that a side adventure. I'd say, all right, it's a Casey episode next episode. And then you just kind of wake up for some reason. You're like, how the fuck am I not dead? And we'll link that to something cool.
Yeah.
And then maybe work on reuniting you back to the party.
Yeah.
Because it's a far fall, and it's, a lot can happen in between those moments.
That's true. There is that. I mean, you survived the fall, but your party members could be on an airship heading way fast in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
How in the hell are you getting back to them?
Yeah.
Is the captain going to turn around? Did the captain survive whatever the assault is? I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Did the ship survive? Or did that go fucking scaring off?
Yeah.
God, I love this game.
Yeah. I had another thought, not to spend too much time on this, but I had another thought is what about having a fall damage maximum for lethal damage based on health? Like, say, 3 times your health. So if you have 100 health, 300 feet is lethal to you. There's no point in rolling beyond that.
Oh.
So that way you have someone like a barbarian or a paladin or something that has 270 health by level 20.
Yeah.
They could survive a pretty outstanding fall, but even 1,000 feet will kill them.
Yeah. Oh, I kind of like that, actually. I think that's
well, I guess that would be.
And I guess there's a slight element of, like, how much health you have is how dense you are.
Sure.
You know, there's an argument that you could make there, I suppose.
Yeah.
To kind of get to Mariachi Dan's recent question, is like, how do you measure the speed of descent between a Goliath and a gnome? I think that might be a good compromise on the.
Well, that's the whole whatever Archimedes thing or whatever. They'll hit terminal velocity very fucking quickly, and it's negligible.
It'll hurt either way. There you go.
Yeah.
See, Hannah thinks it's logical, so it is.
There you go.
Hannah has declared it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, who can cause? Yeah, if you can figure out a way to cause enough drag or something like that, I guess the Goliath would have a possible better chance of doing that. But
yeah, then again, they're naturally bald, so he's aerodynamic.
Yeah, weight versus drag distribution. Are you just head first going down? You have tape.
Oh, just the new Batman. You just.
One of my groups had a hang glider thing that folded up.
That is amazing.
Mm-hmm. So they could use. I think they did use it in a situation where they fell.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Or it was an intended fall meant to be controlled or something. I can't remember.
So they could just.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, they got it fairly early in campaign and wanted to put it to use whenever possible. So
great, good on them.
Not great for inside a dungeon that has like 20-foot ceilings, but you know.
I'm just gonna write next to fall damage. Everyone agrees with me. Right, next point. Oh,
there you go.
I'm getting that back.
Okay, so
alright, yeah. Did you have a point that you wanted to read off?
Oh, sure. I wrote down a bunch of random crap in here.
Sure.
Well, one of the ones that made me kind of think of this, our buddy there, Dan. I'm trying to think if I point that way. The Chatz over there. Dan, way over there, like on the other side of you, and then over there. I think I got that right. Whatever. Or he's down here somewhere, pointing at him. At some point, my finger's going to point at him. The user sent me a video of someone complaining about potions and then doing that TikTok video kind of thing where they talk to themselves and immediately counter with, yeah, potions are supposed to be technically a more rare item, but there are ways around that. But one of the complaint, I guess, being is potions are not strong enough, they're not common enough in 5e. So healing, even with like healers in your party, can be problematic because Cure Wounds only does a d8 plus your spellcasting modifier, and it's not a substantial amount. But in what this short little video posited is you can make it where this world, making a potion is a relatively easy thing to do. Maybe it's still expensive to purchase it, but it's not like you go into a shop and, oh my God, they only have 2 potions. We have to buy them because we're losing them all the time.
Yeah.
You can make those adjustments as a DM to have them available in more places. Have them something that you could go to a temple and they could provide you if you give them a good enough reason to support your mission or whatever.
Yeah.
They get attacked by bandits and defeat them, and each of the bandits has a potion on them. Great, now they're yours. But don't forget, because bandits can use potions too. That's one thing I try and add in every once in a while is enemies taking potions because it messes with the players. It's like, yeah, you can do it. They can do it.
That's a very good point.
Sometimes they got a potion.
I do kind of like the idea of a bandit like drinking a potion, everyone being like, "What the fuck is that?" Whoa!
Right. Yeah. If you kill them fast enough, maybe they won't drink the potion and you get it. Or who knows, maybe they're saving for that one rainy day. They had a potion of cloud giant strength and now they use it and they're just like,
oh, that's true, because they robbed a caravan that had like...
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean...
Oh man, I just got a good idea for you're catching them rob the caravan and you're trying to get to them before they get to the items inside. If they get there first and rummage through, they might find something useful to use in the current battle.
Oh,
yes. If you get there first, you could get it first. Oh, that'd be great. I'm going to think about that. I love it.
Also, I just want to point out something real quick.
Yeah.
And I'm putting her on the spot here, but I don't care because this is just absolutely adorable. At this moment in time, Hannah Mahin is in the chat here with us.
Hello.
She sent me a photo of what she's doing while the channel's going on. It's she's looking up Dungeons and Dragons for Dummies.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's just the cutest thing. Hannah, you're a real one. You're a real one. I love you so much. It's beautiful.
I mean, it's a good start.
Yeah. It's just super cute. Just super cute.
Yeah.
But anyway, I found something that I really don't like. Rules as written, I really don't like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's mounted combat. It's got to do with mounted combat.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly right. So you have a horse.
Yeah.
And you got your horse, and you're gonna ride your horse, and that's great because you could get really far and really fast on a horse. But when it comes to combat, you and your mount essentially shares your initiative, and you can decide which turn goes first, but it has to go with one person's turn. It goes one creature's turn, then your turn, or vice versa. And so, in other words, you can't use the full range of your mount's movement, essentially. You can run 20 feet on your horse, then you have to end the horse's attack, and then you can make your attack, but then you can't fucking book it like, I don't know, 200,000 feet, or whatever your hyperactive horse has.
Yeah.
It goes for that far, so, and it's just, what? I mean, come on. Let them move. They're on a horse.
I get the because they're separate initiatives and there you have to, once you've guided it up to do something, you need to re-guide it elsewhere and so on and so forth, and it needs to act on its own time. But how I've always dealt with that for me is you just need to instruct the creature what it needs to be doing, and if it's an unfamiliar mount, animal handling.
Sure.
And if your animal handling is poor, you're going to run into issues like that.
Of course.
But if
you're
it's
like
your regular
Cavalier
mount, there's no reason you can't go do a drive, like swing by with on a horse.
Yes.
There's no reason you have to stop, sit there. And it's a very odd mechanic that they put in there.
It really is.
I don't think we're going to disagree on this one. I think it's, I think you can mess around with it, like I said, with an animal handling thing, but rules as written, I think, is poor.
Yeah. That's that optimization that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
We got big words here at Vitamin D&D.
Yeah, if you're that stuck by, like, if I don't want to say then that makes mounting completely pointless, because there are still advantages to it.
Yeah.
Because you still, most of the time, hopefully most of the time, you're getting a much increased speed. You can move, not on your turn, but you can move.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way I've always handled it is just you guide them out to do what you want before your turn. It does that on your turn and gets you to a certain place.
Yeah.
And like I had some during a big battle, they were riding a bunch of giant owls.
Oh, awesome!
That had been summoned by the druid, because of course.
Yeah.
And they were, they were moving throughout the combat, and they would need to dictate to the creature where we're heading to and stuff like that. But it was they were essentially sacrificing the creature as an attacking creature to just kind of give itself over to being a mode of transportation. So instead of the owls and stuff attacking things and doing stuff on their own, they were just merely being guided, becoming an extension of their movement. So
yeah,
I thought that was more in spirit of what they intended to do with the combat, and it worked.
I think that's a great compromise to it. I think the only other argument that I could think of is that you go first, you hold your action to make an attack. The next person that you run across, then you take the horse's action, you run that whole distance, so you run past and do it. But then it eliminates like spells and
yeah.
All that. But I do like the compromise. I think that's really cool.
It also, for me, took an entire piece out of the initiative, in that essentially the owls waited all the way through past their initiative to your initiative and then moved with you. So I didn't have to track all the 12 owls or whatever crap you summoned. We're on like initiative 8. It was kind of irrelevant for the remainder of the battle. One less thing to worry about, because in that particular battle I had 6 players, summoned owls. I had 3 or 4 different types of devils in it. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It was like their end battle was great.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it shit. But a lot of parts like that, it can get very intimidating. I mean, you know me, I forget shit.
Yeah, it's wild.
Also, I just want to point out something, just while we're on the topic. When Bedlam Bearsy asked if your mount is a centaur, do you need animal manhandling? Number 1, that's funny. But number 2, you can't ride a centaur. Because they're medium, and you can only mount something that's 1 size bigger than you. So you can't even ride a centaur, and I think that's rude.
Interesting.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Unless you're a half.
I mean, if the centaur can centaurs, sorry, I'll leave.
That's a good one. No, come back. Enjoy your victory.
Damn it! I told you I'm in a weird mood.
Centaurs.
I told you I'm in a weird mood today.
I love that.
And there's no alcohol in this. This is just like fruit juice.
Oh my god, I wasn't ready for that. That was great.
Anyway, let's move on from that.
Okay, great.
Oh, I had another about the potion things and healing being whatever.
Yes.
There's something that a lot of folks forget about, or maybe don't come up often enough for some maybe rookie DMs. And a lot of times players, it's one of the mechanics they have the hardest time wrapping their head around, which I totally understand because I did too, and that is utilizing short rests and hit dice.
Yeah.
Is you can get a fuckload of health back on a short rest just from your hit dice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even more so when you get the durable feat. Just saying.
Sure, yeah.
That's one of those ones you kind of like, you kind of blow it off, but then when you really piece it together, that's a hell of a feat if you're taking a short rest. Like, just to take a short rest, get back up. Oh, I healed fast. I'm Venom. Like, that's incredible.
So yeah, I forgot I'd written that down as another option.
No, I love it. Thank you for bringing it up.
Let's see, you mentioned the mouse. I guess it's technically my turn, right?
Sure. Yeah, if you got something, you could always pass it off.
Standing up from prone costing half your movement, always.
Yeah.
Which I think is hooey.
Yeah.
Because that's
if
like
you're really fast.
Right. That's like it punishes monks and barbarians and I guess a wood elf if you're rounding up.
Yeah. Tabaxis.
Tabaxi, yeah, things like that. I'm pretty sure the intent should have been, realistically, you should use 15 feet of your movement to stand up. It's easy to say half your movement because in most cases, in 95% of the cases, it's going to be 15 feet. Unless you want to punish less, like a halfling or something like that only has 25 feet of movement. But
no, like, I mean, I get it. When they were designing it, most likely they were like, a pretty simple rule. It's universal, done. But like, an idea that a really heavy set chunk of armor on you, like gives you disadvantage in stealth or whatever, and in some cases even knocks down your movement speed.
Uh-huh.
You know, but if you're gonna have the movement speed, it's not that big of a thing. But if you knock down your movement speed and then you subtract 15, falling while you have a huge chunk of armor on would suck.
Mm-hmm.
It would suck. Like, so I mean, I do kind of like that, a set amount that you can subtract from it, as opposed to, because I do agree that half thing is horseshit. What's the point of being fast and agile, but you fall on your ass? You take forever to get up. Like,
yeah, it's great. You got, as monk, you got your like 60 feet of movement or whatever, but you fell down, and for some reason, you, the fastest person on the team, take the most of your movement to stand back up again.
Exactly. I'm good enough to dodge a fucking fireball.
Bedlam says creatures with longer strides would theoretically take longer to stand up. That's true, but
you know what?
Again, just like in a monk's situation, though, they don't have a longer stride. They're just faster.
What about just a set amount, but for the size classification of it? So if you think about like a gnome or a halfling or whatever, they would be able to get up quick. A medium creature would be like 15, but large would be like 20. A giant would take like a long time to get up. Ooh.
Make it an athletics or an acrobatics check to get up, to not waste that extra movement.
That's also a great idea.
Maybe.
Sorry, I just want to point out we got some questions over here. All right, we're gonna start with Mario Chidan real quick. I know, right? So, is it better to have a simple go-to rule that may not make as much sense versus a thoroughly complicated one? I would say it depends on how often you're using it. I do agree with that ending point, because like I said, they probably designed that just to be this quick go-to thing. Yeah. It's just another thing the DM doesn't have to really concern themselves about. It's like an easier the DM's use kind of thing.
I think, in a lot of cases, I think your qualification of depends on how often you're using it is probably a good way to think about that.
Yeah.
If you're not using something too often, I'd be less likely to make it a super complicated rule, because it'd be harder to remember it. Or with that it's coming up so often, it's more frustrating to do a more complicated rule. I can
understand the logic behind it for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. There's sometimes that's what I was trying to think about, some of these not making it, like with the fall damage, not over complicating it, because again, having a flat 20d6 cap, it's a simpler way of handling it and everything. And if I were to do, say, that thought about doing the 3 times your max health or something, that would be something you'd have to calculate every time that happened.
Correct.
But it would be theoretically very uncommon for you to be falling from a height where it mattered.
Yeah, true.
Normally when players are falling from a large height, it's like, oh crap, they fell from 30 feet and they take some damage.
Yeah, 3d8 damage. Boop. Yeah, like... Yeah.
You better not be rolling d8s. I think it's a d6, isn't it? Is it d8?
I think it's a d8. Is it not? Why do I remember a d8 of bludgeoning?
See, now you're making me question my thoughts.
Okay, don't worry. I'll tell you what. I'll look that up real quick.
Sure.
Well, you got to think of this next one, because I know you probably have a better story than I do.
Think about what now?
Newbie question. So if it's stupid, skip it. That's not how we do things here. What's the most brutal way you've seen a character die? Alright, well, Mariachi Dan apparently had a paladin that fell from a high place after flying. Pegasus got magicked away. My body hit the ground and my organs exploded outwards towards my party members. Christ.
Yeah, because when you fall from a huge height, you explode like a Michael Bay film or something. Yeah, but no, I get that. They're with such force that our legs and arms went everywhere. That's scary. That's pretty gnarly. You've seen a character die. Definitely had a lot of very gruesome NPC deaths. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Had a cleric partially digested by was it a Remoras? Is that what it was?
Oh yeah, Remoras?
It was Bahir. It was a Bahir.
Nice.
I had another one partially digested by a large neothalid, an uncommon creature that's awesome. It's essentially what would happen to one of the little mind flayer worm things if they weren't cultivated into a mind flayer.
Yeah.
And illithid, yeah. I'm like,
Yep.
I could say illithid, but I couldn't say illithid. And like the elder brain got killed and it just wandered off
Yeah.
and becomes this giant psychically powered worm. And it's so cool.
That's insane.
Most violence incinerated into dust. I've had that happen.
I mean,
which is not great considering you need like a true resurrection to get around that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember from some of the games I played during quarantine, because there was 1 or 2 player deaths that were like sad, because we were just kind of sad to see them go, and we had nothing Phantom amongst us.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if there's been like a super brutal one. I guess, you know what, I'll bring it up from your Clockwork Tower one-off that we did on the channel a while ago, when one of the characters got stuck in between 2 gears, and I've spent maybe like 4 turns trying to save this dude.
Yeah, the problem was it was going really slowly, so each turn I just had to describe how the carapace was getting cracked and crushed, and he was getting more squeezed to death in between 2 giant cogs. Yeah. And, I tend to, I guess, not describe the character deaths as gruesomely as some monster or NPC deaths.
Sure.
Because maybe it's just the player might not want to hear that happening to their character.
Absolutely. Like, if you're going to be sinister about description, make it about the villain being a dickhead doing it.
And I love that. I love over-describing that kind of stuff. How do you kill this thing? And the player will be like, I kind of want to do this. And I will go into a just ridiculous description of it because I like that kind of visceral imagery like that. I think it gets you more into the moment. And it feels cooler that you killed it in a really fun way or something like that. The players tend to really enjoy those types of descriptions.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But
when it's victorious, it's okay. When it's not,
the actual characters, it had a vampire drain someone to death, which sucks because they don't get death saves.
Yeah, that's nasty. Having like a mind player. I mean, like the extract brain is just that description is like. So when you play Bloodborne and you fight the witch, there's a special death animation that she has where she like comes up behind you, just starts like grabbing your skull, and she pulls your like Sub-Zero's you essentially. She like it's really slow, and she like before like pulling out your spine and your skull out of your body, and it's the sound in Bloodborne is fucking incredible. So you just hear like everything, and it's so terrifying when it happens. And something like that, like the extract brain stuff like that. It's just oof.
I did have a buddy of mine in a game where one of the characters, I can't remember if he survived it or if it killed him, but a blood hag attacked one of them and grappled him. Did not realize how important it was to break the grapple because it got to, on its next turn, peel his face off of his skull.
Oh.
Yep. That's a lot of healing afterward to fix those scars.
Certainly descriptive. God damn. Okay.
Yeah. I kept him fairly simple, not describing how he described it to me, which was far more disgusting. But
oh wow.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I've got one that was officially confirmed, and I guess it's less of a. I guess it is technically a rule. It's like a rule / build sort of thing, but the lucky feat essentially removes disadvantage. So if you roll with disadvantage and you take a point of lucky, you can take you get to choose between the 3 dice based on the rules of lucky. Yeah, which kind of makes sense in a way because that's the point of lucky. You're being really lucky, but it's, I don't know, to me it's just, that's kind of like, because it's like having disadvantage on attack, getting rid of that's cool, but having disadvantage because of the series that you win and something's really dangerous, it's like, where do you toe the line on that? How do you feel about that?
Um, any of my players will know my opinions on Lucky and how much of a bullshit feat I think it is.
Yeah.
That said, I do not ban it from the table because it's a legitimate feat. It is limited to only 3 times a day.
That's
so
great.
It's not like they're using it constantly all day long. For me, it's always been like hey, you have halfling luck where they get to reroll once, which is already a pretty crazy ability.
Right.
But other than that, just Lucky in general, as it seems like such a throwaway, like, sure, let's make this a feat kind of feat without much justification. But maybe that's me as a person not believing in luck and bad luck and stuff like that. So maybe that's just bleeding over into the game. But that said, because that's my opinion, because it's a viable feat, there are very, very, very few things that I will say no to at the table beyond like homebrew stuff I'm not crazy about, things like that. Because most homebrew that isn't official, unless it's been vetted, is usually way too overpowered. But yeah, I'm not crazy about Lucky in general, but
sure.
Is it an overpowered feat? Does it ruin things? No, not necessarily. I just don't like the flavor of it, I guess.
Sure.
If that's a way of putting it. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I mean, it does keep you on your toes for narrative description. That's for sure. Because it's fun to be like, they attempted this. I want to use Lucky. And then you got to be like, all right, so you were gonna fuck up, but then this one little thing, you know, like
the odds seemed against you, but
exactly
the
crossbow bolts flying from the trap is flying right towards your face, and suddenly there's a like you slipped and it goes like right past. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with it that way.
You can, just descriptions of that. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, because there is a limit to Lucky, and at kind of like in the short term of the early game, I can understand it being like, fuck. But as soon as you start to get late game and long term dungeons and threats coming and going at such a huge rate, Lucky eventually becomes a part of what that character's like. Well, do I use it now or do I use it later? And if you build suspense long enough and they know what's coming, it's like, fuck, but that's coming. Am I gonna take this hit? Because that just adds suspense to the player. So I think it's too much. It takes away some of the spontaneity of what I think the spirit of Lucky is. But sure.
I get you.
Sure.
And Dan, I see your comment there. It is halflings. I get that luck exists in the game because it's part of the rules and everything, which is what I said. I said I don't like it.
I said I don't like it.
I can yell at Dan. We're friends.
Yeah, that's true. He's been on the show. Yeah.
And it's all in good fun anyway. I'm not actually mad at him or anything. I just he knows I don't like Lucky. It's I personally, and the day that it happens or something, call me out on it and I'll try and justify it, I'm sure. But I personally will not be taking Lucky for a character. I don't like it as a.
I mean, I went through 2 players at one point had Lucky at the same table. He was rough, but it didn't work.
Before that, Dan actually did have a fun little question there.
Going back to what we were talking about a little bit.
Asked if we stay away from adding scars to player characters without their permission. Kind of how I've put it before is I will describe after someone getting a particularly nasty wound as it having a scar that will, through healing and sleeping and stuff like that, will fade unless the player doesn't really want it to fade.
Yeah.
And the magic exists in the game and things are weird. Maybe you get to keep your scar. I mean, I'm sure we've all built a character at some point that comes pre-made with scars. So
yeah, most of the
time. Yeah, you can have scars. I'm not going to force a superficial scar onto anybody. Now, if something happens and they were to like lose a limb or an eyeball or something like that, well then
that's injury.
There are things. There's magic to regrow limbs and body parts, and there's magical items that can replace an eye or things like that.
Yeah.
But would I force superficial scars on them? No, but I'll make it an option.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel? Yeah.
In a very light way, I like presenting it to a player that, because mirrors are very hard to come by. No one in D&D typically travels with one. You know what I mean? So I do kind of like the idea that if there's a moment in time where they see themselves, or all the characters go to like a hot spring or something for the first time, they could kind of just take a check of like, oh, this is what the adventuring world has done to us. Like, you know what I mean? Because like your body changes and you can take wounds, and if characters are like, I really don't like being scarred, like I don't like this, or whatever, it's entirely an option for them to go seek that. I mean, a tonic. There's a tonic that you can rub on your body for a little bit of gold. Sure. They're adventurers. They're making fuck tons of gold by that point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That they'll be able to cure themselves, and then they kind of feel like, oh, this was a thing I didn't like. It was an effect of the battle. In a lot of ways, curses and poisons and diseases and things typically are. You used your resources to seek help, and you got rid of it.
Yeah. If you want the scars to be a permanent thing, or quote unquote permanent thing in the game, just leave an option out there for them to fix it.
Yeah.
Because they may not want that as an aesthetic. I like to think that my barbarian on the stream is sporting a shitload of scars at this point.
Yeah.
She doesn't give a shit.
100%. Yeah. Well, we introduced that little hack, so if people don't want it, the dwarven spirits will come and stitch you up.
Yeah.
But I imagine everyone at this point is like fucked up. Donna Bonnie especially, just from like every time she cuts her hand to use her blood magic. I imagine her hands are probably just like I just love that idea.
Yeah. When I did a blood hunter, my third character I ever made was a blood hunter, and I had him pre-scarred. Like he's already been doing this for a while. Yeah. And it's just I think it's the entire idea of a blood hunter is like a sacrificing your body to be able to do something. So scars would make sense as part of that sacrifice,
Yeah.
I mean, you literally like take a poison to get the ability to do blood magic.
Yeah. Exactly. It's something really cool. This is a fun question. As Dungeon Masters, have you ever found yourself rooting for a character to lose, fail, or die in a horrible way? Is it dependent on the player with that character? I've never found myself inside a situation where I was rooting for a player character to die. There's been times when like an NPC has been in danger, and I'm like, oh yeah, if this goes through, fuck it. And there was a particular character that was helping you guys in another campaign that we were playing before we started streaming, and everyone loved him because he was just this dopey little goblin that followed you guys everywhere. But he was really good, and he was just doing his thing, and I think one of you guys were using the character inside combat. I wasn't even controlling them, and there was just reactionary from that character doing so well. They were going after them, and I was at that point. It was like, I'm gonna go after it to see if it does, but you guys saved them. It was a hell of a combat session, but you guys did it. So I don't know if I've ever rooted for a character. There's been times where I've been like, oh fuck, if they fail, this is gonna be so funny. I hope they fail, because it'll be funny, but the stakes aren't drastically high. Yeah. Absolutely. I love a good punchline.
There's been like a moment where a player, a little outside of character, is getting a little cocky about something, and if something goes wrong for them, everyone enjoys a little bit of a comeuppance, but no, I've never rooted for a character like death or a loss where it was substantial, like a little trip up, they fail an acrobatics check, or they gloat about their plus 14 to hit and they roll a natural 1 or something. It's amusing. I do get a little bit of amusement from that, but not really, not in the sense that I think that he was asking. No.
Ready.
Just make sure we didn't have any other questions on that.
Oh yeah, sorry if I see it. I mean, it's been a very active chat today, so it's a
we're
good thing. If I miss,
it's
it's because you guys are being communicative, and we do appreciate it.
Let's see. I have one.
Oh, come at
So
me, bro.
another
Come
one.
at me.
I don't think you'll disagree with this, but feel free to do so. The fact that 2-weapon fighting doesn't cover unarmed strikes.
Oh,
Technically, by the rule, an unarmed strike is not a light melee weapon attack, so you could not attack bonus action
and then,
attack.
Like a sucker punch.
Personally, I think that's incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
And when someone is in a brawl, they can absolutely do an offhand attack. I get the spirit with which that is given and why it is, but at the same time, if you're brawling against someone else, it's not like you're giving the player extra advantage because the enemy can do it too. It's the argument against like flanking that can overwhelm or whatever. Well, the enemies can do it too. Add more enemies to the fight.
If it's something that's available across the board,
it's not just for the players.
Yeah.
If you think it gives advantages toward them, well, why aren't your enemies getting those same advantages?
Exactly that. Yeah. In the same
but,
way,
yeah,
I mean, you brought it up earlier. The bandits can drink potions.
Bandits can drink potions. Yeah.
You know
they can drink potions. They can have magical items and crap like that. It's not just dungeon crawling where all of the skeletons don't pick up the +4 mace that's in that chest. You know, sometimes magnets have got really cool. Oh, I said +4. Fuck.
I do love the idea of just a skeleton like looking like at them.
That's an axe.
Like this savage like brainless enemy just going berserk with this like fucking instant
Why
kill.
does that skeleton have a +16 to hit?
Fine idea. I would love that. The chaos of that would drive me nuts.
Yeah, it does its regular, +8 or a D8 +1 for its like strength or something, but it adds like 5d6 of fire damage because it's a holy weapon or such.
Jesus.
just a kid with a gun.
Yeah, exactly. But we just came across the most important question that I think we'll ever have, not just inside this chat, but inside our lives. Casey, Dylan, can I cast magic through my feet, yes or no?
Dan, I've met you. I don't think you can.
How do we even dissect this?
I think, correct me if I'm wrong.
Somatic opponents? Is that what we're looking up?
Okay, somatic just technically means relating to the body. It doesn't mean hands specifically.
Hey, bro, pick another body part.
I double check. I would want a hell of a good reason and a hell of a backstory as to why they could, not just your hands are bound up and they've thrown you into a cell and you decide to try and cast magic with your feet for the first time. No. But if it's built into the character, like maybe they don't have hands, they lost their hands.
Yeah.
They cast magic through their feet. Maybe.
Or an Arakocra, you just go wings. And then your feet, you go...
What allows me to cast magic with my hands and not feet? Because that's how you learn.
Well, yeah. Can you use chopsticks with your toes? I mean, if you can, shit.
So the answer is maybe.
Maybe. We'll see.
How do you feel about it? Do you agree with me?
Yeah, that's gonna be like, you know
it's
what I mean?
Maybe with a be okay when I say hell no.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. You can freeze water while you're standing in it without people knowing, instead of like sticking your hand in really quickly mid-conversation. You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of...
You make a new roll, sleight of feet.
Sleight of feet shit. It's still dexterity.
Yeah. Are you proficient in sleight of feet?
You don't know my life. You know what, Dan? That's true. You know what? That's true. Until I get proof that Dan can't use chopstick with his feet, I'm afraid I'm on the fence.
It's fair enough. Your fingers are hot dog season. Oh, sure, but yeah. If a wizard loses their voice or their tongue, would you allow magic to assist with the verbal components? If that's something that they either had pre-designed into the character or maybe made it something that because they lost their voice, they worked something out. Honestly, them having to adjust to using non-verbal spells would be interesting as a character, though there's a lot of verbal spells that could be pretty debilitating. But who knows? Maybe use that as an opportunity to multi-class into something that can do other things.
Yeah, or open it up
but,
to I mean, like, I think we've brought this up beforehand. You know, I like the idea that a wizard and, you know, working with the DM well beforehand can create their own kind of spells. It would be very interesting if this person who's mute, who's always reading, would come up with a different way to angle it. And if that's the case, what new spells that are very specific to them and their magic thing. And that could be like a whole story reason right there.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Oh, there we go. We had the perfect thing. If you could use chopsticks with your toes in real life, by all means, you could allow your character to use it. If you put that much fucking work into wanting your character to use magic through your feet, I would allow that.
I'm not changing my answer.
I'm not changing your answer. And your fucking crows. Put those things down.
I would be very impressed, but maybe.
You know,
probably not.
All right. I've got one that I'm really passionate about. And I'm probably going to incorporate it into our campaign at some point when it's safe.
Actually, I have one too. I'm going to put an arrow toward it so I don't forget.
There we go. Criticals, especially with attacks.
Oh, yeah.
Don't like just twice the dice. Because 2 1s is not a fucking critical. You know what I mean? Because every die that you roll for damage, there's a chance that you get 1s, and there's a chance that both of them are going to get 1.
Yeah.
To me, that's not a critical hit. Getting a natural 20 is supposed to be a really good feeling because it's a rare thing. Players are supposed to be excited about it. The runaround that I really enjoy looking into is that whatever your first die that you roll for damage, be it a d12 or 2d6, you would take the 1d6. That's immediately maximum damage. And then you get an additional die to roll and add into it.
Huh.
Yeah, because if you're going to get a natural 20, like... Because then if it's 12 and then you roll a 1, it's 13. Okay. I still did more damage than I usually would and had a guaranteed 12. I didn't have to roll my dice. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's not a bad point because I've definitely had that for myself and for my players who have done that. I've rolled a double 1 or a 1 and a 2 or even just 2 that are less than half of the possibility. They, you know, roll 2 4s on d10s and it's like, well, great, but I could have hit that with 1.
Yeah.
I get that. I actually do, and especially because it is something that you can translate over to the bad guys.
Oh, 100%.
They can do it too. I guess so. That would make some high-level spells devastating.
I think spells I would keep the same.
Just spells, the melee attacks?
Yeah, like magic is unpredictable. Easy way to work around it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then again, if it, you know, fireball 8d8, whatever, you guaranteed 1/8. You roll the other 7.
Do it as 1, just keep it as the 1 is at least guaranteed.
The first die of every
at low level, at a low level, you still have a spell that does like a 2d8 or something like that, and you could still get 2 1s. But if it's just one of them, I'd have to think about how best to incorporate that when it does come to magic. Or if you have multiple damage types, like say a sneak attack with a knife, are you doing it cap or max on the 2d4, the first d4 of the knife and the first d6 of the sneak attack, or just the knife damage? So I think there's some in there that you might have to be real specific about. I like where you're going with it though. I do like where you're going with it.
Because there's a lot of things that you can add to the character or a part of your class that are very dependent on the critical. You know what I mean? Like, a great weapon master is a great one. A fighter, the champion subclass of a fighter, getting the 19 or 20 in natural crit, or like the Hexblade has it as well. There's a few. Sorry, on top of my head, I'm not thinking of the rest of them, but there's a lot of them that just kind of depend on the notion of getting a critical is supposed to be this amazing thing. I really don't like that it's one of the coolest things. And like, I think you kind of summed it up well.
Mhm.
The bad guys get it too. And if the
Yeah.
players are aware that this is the rule well ahead, you don't want to get a critical by a fucking giant.
No.
You know what I mean? Because it's
No.
like guaranteed I'm going to fucking suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, that's hard to, I that's a tough one. And if you put it that way, that the enemies get it too, it's possible the players will be like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Now, they're realistically doing a lot more rolling than the DM probably will be for enemies, just generally speaking.
Yeah.
Though there are exceptions to that. Generally speaking, the players will be doing a lot more rolling, so they're more likely to crit. But as a group, not as individuals, of course. But yeah, that's tough. The entire thing about how to handle a natural 20 or a natural 1 is so many people do it in so many different ways, and I don't know that there is any one best way to handle it, because even the way I'll handle it sometimes, I'm like, you know, and the way I try and do it is the nat 1 and the nat 20s are only really effective inside of combat. Outside of combat, it's great, but you don't completely screw things up. Maybe a nat 1 gives you a bad read on something, but or a natural 20, just that little edge of more info I might not have given out on a roll outside of combat. But generally speaking, I tend to keep the epic stuff for inside of combat when it comes to crits, fail, and success. But even with a crit fail, there gets a point where you run out of creative ways to have them fall on their face.
Exactly.
But if you're rewarding a crit success, should you ignore the crit fails and just say, well, you just missed? Some people do, some people don't. I think for the most part in our campaign, the natural ones, you've been like, oh, well, you missed. And that's perfectly fine. That's a lot of people do it that way. I try and make it a little more embarrassing, but I don't know. Crits are always, I think, going to be a weird one as far as rules go.
Yeah, it is. That's just one of those things that's made up front.
Yeah.
You know, like it's spoken about up front. Like, this is how I would like to handle it. How do you feel?
Yeah.
How do you feel? How do you feel? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And get those things out of the way. Session 0, if you can possibly manage it. I know you were talking about our campaign 2, possibly handling a few things differently.
Yeah. Inspiration,
a couple of
especially.
mechanics. Inspiration is the one you brought up.
It's going to be something really fun. I'm excited to...
Yeah, you described it. I think I might have understood it in the moment, but have immediately then forgotten about it. So.
Yeah. I mean, you'll find out when it gets there. Campaign 2 it's still a whiles away. There's some fun Icewind Dale stuff ahead of you guys now.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I feel like we've got like one direction left to go, but not understanding how to get there is part of the problem.
Things can go one way or the other here. It's gonna be it's wonderful. I'm just gonna prep as much as I can, and then
I'm assuming the other is us dying. So it goes one way, you don't die, and the other is you die.
Yep. Let's see. I don't know. You guys have a lot of plans behind, and you guys are putting in the effort. So.
Yeah, we're doing our best. You know, that's what happens when you piss off deities.
Yeah.
All good D&D. Are you really a truly good D&D party if you don't piss off a god or two?
Exactly. What are you doing, huh? Helping cats out of trees?
Right.
Alright, we're coming up on our time. Yes. I don't know if there's one more thing you wanted to bring up.
I had one more thing.
Casey's got one more thing, don't you?
And I have to say it while hopefully Riptide is still in here.
Riptide, I swear to God, dude. Find it.
One of the best feats in the game as a melee player, especially a beefy, tanky, high armor class player, is Sentinel.
Bam! I wrote it down.
Sentinel is a fantastic, and it has so many elements about it that are great. There has to be a size cap on the movement speed.
Thank you.
There has to
100%.
Because a a rogue or whoever with negative to attack could stab a dagger into an ancient red dragon
Yep.
with a sentinel feat reaction, and it has to stop.
Yeah.
Incredibly broken feat.
Yeah.
And even if you cap the size level, there's still many aspects to it that are fantastic.
Yeah.
It is a great feat. I don't think it kills it by nerfing that a little bit.
I mean, the last line in that is the fucking most incredible shit. Somebody else gets attacked, you can just smash it about.
And I'd even go as far as to say is just remove everything above huge off of there, because even stopping a huge thing is pretty fucking incredible. Or, you know what? To be fair, throw in a contested athletics check or something to be able to hold the thing in place.
Exactly.
If you can manage to beat an ancient red dragon on athletics check, you know what? Good job. You stopped the damn thing.
Deserve it.
Honestly, I kind of like that almost better than just making it a screw you, you don't get to do that. Make a contested athletics check once it gets to 2 sizes or 3 sizes above yours. Because there's no reason why a dagger is going to stop a purple worm from getting away.
Nope, I'm afraid not.
And I say Riptide had to be here for that because he had Sentinel, used it very effectively. The only one that was a major issue in the entire time we were going was an ancient blue dragon they fought. And by the rules, he hit and it could not fly away.
Yeah.
So, and in the moment, I was like, rules is written, I'm not changing anything now. It's stupid, but we're doing it, and I'm going to explain it. I'm going to describe it in a way that sort of makes sense.
Yeah, and there's the size thing is about, because like you're taking it past the size cap. As a DM, you can get kind of creative about that whole movement speed thing, because attacking somebody else, they can use their reaction to attack you, but it very specifically says that isn't attack of opportunity. It is just a melee attack. In other words, it doesn't knock that speed down to 0. And now their reaction to lock you in is gone, so you can fucking book it if you need to. You can disengage, or I guess bonus action disengage, or just risk it getting hit by the other guy. But they've used their... So, like, there are elements to, like, get around it, but the size thing, it just doesn't make fucking sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. So
pretty sure Legolas took down a war elephant thing by himself. I consider that Sentinel like he just shot it in the face.
Yeah,
like
that thing was moving
times.
the whole time. This thing was moving after it got shot.
Yeah, its speed went to 0 when its heart stopped.
Yeah.
He didn't like shoot it in the toe and it couldn't move with an arrow.
Fucking old mariachi dad.
Yeah.
Nick's character, I'm gonna give them Lucky and Sentinel.
Fine, Lucky's fine. I don't like it, but it's fine. Sentinel's fine. It's a great friggin' thing. There's just an element of it, I think, that is broken.
Yeah, I do agree.
9 times out of 10, more than that, 9.5 times out of 10, they're going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting things that are well within the range that Sentinel is perfectly viable to stop something in its tracks.
Exactly, which is 5 feet, not your attack range. It's 5 feet.
Yeah, occasionally, they're going to try. You're going to say, well, according to the feat, my short sword is going to stop that Tarrasque from moving. Is it though? Anyway,
yep. I guess we'll leave it on that. On something that we both have a very strong opinion about. Yeah.
Yeah. Had to end it that way.
It is.
We were being too reasonable through most of this. We had to get angry at something.
Yeah. Exactly that. I do what the Bedlam just asked you. Do archers have a feat like Warcaster where they can use their ranged attacks as a reaction? I don't believe there's a feat for that. There is a subclass that allows that to be an option. I'm trying to think, it's an Arcane Archer, but there is someone that does. I think you have to like target them, and then if they move, you can.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I think it's like a mark territory kind of thing.
Yeah. That might be something in the fighter class, but yeah, I might. That'd have to be something I'd have to think about the elements of that, because I might allow a reaction to do that attack with a bow, but following with the melee combat rules of ranged attacks, and it would be at disadvantage.
Yeah.
You could react, but you're reacting to someone like running away right next to you, so you have disadvantage on the attack, as you would if you were trying to fire point blank with a bow. Not saying that's what I would do, but I think I'd be open to that as an option. I just have to try it out, maybe.
I mean, there's a crossbow feature that takes away that disadvantage, right?
Maybe. Yeah, there is.
The crossbow expert takes away.
Crossbow expert
That's
does,
something that I'd allow. If you have that feat and you're proficient with it in that range, I'd allow that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because that's part of the build that you were doing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, on that note, thank you. This went fast. And thank you, Chatz. This has been such a bloody talkative chat, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been great.
Everyone for coming out. Lots of questions, lots of stories. Like, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody. We do appreciate it. Yeah, catch us tomorrow at 9 p.m. for the next episode of Icewind Dale, Run with the Frost Maiden.
Yeah. Watch our stream.
Yeah, fucking do
Watch our stream.
Casey will punch you with his beard. I've seen it. It forms into a fist and it'll swing. I've only seen it pick up a beer. But if it could do that, it's like a robot. If you could teach it to do that, fuck, what else could it do, right? So yeah, thank you for that. Be sure to tune in to all of our socials. You see it in the next one. But yeah, thank you, everybody. If you love someone, let them know. Cheers.
Good night.